Wake up, goddammit. Welcome to MARKETcast with Unk and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Good. Kind of a weird week. Crypto did so well early. I've been holding on the weekend, most weekends for that, and just kind of cashed that out. And I was just sort of like, okay, I guess I'll just go light this week. So that's what I did. I mean, I just went kind of, one or two contracts on a couple more morning setups. Did a lot of studying. Um, just kind of kept it light because I saw that we sold off more than I thought we would, and I don't like to change, my broad thesis to the middle of the week. I just kind of wait and see how stuff holds up on the pullbacks. So yeah, I was on the sidelines a bit more than usual, about half my normal trades, but had a good week overall.
Oh yeah, definitely was less is more. I think I said it Thursday because it wasn't really in my head the proper way. Like, God damn it, we're short a day here, and I was already trading less, so I ran out of a day and was trading less. But ended up making goal somehow,
Yeah.
which I thought was crazy. Crypto though for me to start the week, kind of the same thing. Didn't really hold. I held a little bit over the weekend, but not as much as I should have, and that's been the theme of this run. Um, I'm kind of too much pet rock there, but still playing the range because it's ridiculous. And then ran into that piton, pedaled that thing Thursday and Friday, so that finished off well. It had tremendous range, very easy chart,
go
clean level
go
two.
to. I had some piton, but go to was my piton. Like I just the one I sort of had parked in and
Yeah, but I
just
didn't get enough there for me to
waited.
really really call that a tinny big dub. I guess that's when options probably move better than shares. Um, my Chinese play was can.
Yeah.
So, and I did want to mention that at some point in time.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Chinese, my Chinese play was Canon. I did okay in there, but
uh,
I kind of consider that crypto. So, um, I don't really consider it. I like Chinese with
it is, yeah,
the
and
theme.
the the can read. This is such a good example, and I actually want to talk about that for a minute if we can.
Yeah, sure.
No pun intended. All right, so when I saw can, I thought the TA was kind of bad on it. Like I was not that convinced that I just kind of thought it might break down. But then the flow was just so good that I was like, I just want to see what Unk says on this. And when you actually kind of gave the endorsement on it, that added some confirmation to what I already saw in options. So, what is it? Go back on your read on Can um, that made you, kind of turn around on it because it had broken way down to like
Yeah.
$1.20 or something like that, and then
Well, I didn't.
when we revisited it, you thought it, you thought it was
Yeah,
better.
yeah. I didn't like the. I didn't like that. I don't like trying to say all the time. I don't call bottoms. I'm not trying to call no bottoms fan. That's not for me.
Yeah,
My bottom's $3. What are we doing? This is oversold. But you had these power moves before. I mean, we've had power moves, right? And we had this power move to $3.
yeah,
And I'm just looking for the higher low coming out of the back end with a reason. And the Bitcoin being the low end of the 42 to the 45, that changed. Because this move wasn't because of Bitcoin. This first move wasn't because of the price of Bitcoin. Then we hit the $2 psych, and it was just holding well. Um, yeah, and I just liked it a lot more then. And 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 for me, it's just easier to play off a psychological level because you can see the volume coming in on a level two. And then simple math, right? It had 250 in it. That's 25%. People don't really understand that. That 2 to 250 is 25%, and real easy share side. Whether you're playing $200 or 1,000 shares, I wouldn't go too much over that. Maybe 1,500, and just kind of rinse and repeat those ranges. But yeah, it was just volume, P. It's just the volume staying in. I mean, if you look at it on a weekly scale, look at how small we are back in here. I know it's probably hard to see, but I don't like the grays on the weekly. I mean, the color on the weekly. Um, but it came into that move you had, and the volume's still staying in here on these candles. These candles are still World Trade Centers. So, um, yeah, yeah,
I expect it to do it again. The $2 to $3 thing.
yeah,
It's just,
yeah. I think
kind of a
yeah,
question of when. But
exactly, and that's
yeah,
50%. Yeah. So, and back to
yeah,
I love these new guys. I think we got one in here. Shout out to him for being so involved. But I just, I mean, I don't know how much you get the page or read it, but I'm just been on a refresher like the last week and a half. All the basic rules coming back into play,
yeah.
and that's why I really do this stuff, to be honest with you. And I like people asking questions is because it's just like review for me, and then all the little baby rules come back, and it makes me keep it simple because that's really what you should be doing. If you get We talked about it a few weeks ago. Like when you figure something out, you get super confident, and you want to like just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, right? Because you're like, I can do this now. Like if you start painting and you get a picture and you sell it to somebody for $10 or whatever the hell on Etsy, you're gonna make another one and another one, because you're like, I can do this. And sometimes you need to just slow down and figure out what really made it work. Because it might have been that you painted a picture of a building in the first one, and the picture of the mountains in the second one ain't no one fucking want.
Absolutely.
That's the monk analogy there, though.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, stay there though. What up? You said you want to talk a little bit about that. Cans Bitcoin. What do you got for me?
Yeah, yeah. So,
ETF faceplant, right?
okay, so one of the maybe I think one of the things that there was so much buzz from the wrong people about Friday being the big day that they're gonna announce everything. And what ended up happening is it gets pushed to next week. It is, a decision is going to happen soon, and it's just all like there's amendments to their applications. The SEC goes back and forth with all these different people. This news comes out. Oh, Grayscale listed this ticker on this site. The approval's imminent, and I do think they probably will get approved. I just don't know that the price action on Bitcoin is going to be quite what people think. That it's just going to go to the moon because of the ETFs. I think there's going to be a lot of pop and fade, sell the news. You could see, some significant pullbacks, break down to 38,000 or 36,000. Like I just don't. I think the ETF trade largely already happened is what I'm saying. Not that these won't continue or that they'll have the range or whatever, but I mean the run up to the ETFs, that was the safe trade. That was kind of the big one that you could either get your coin position or scale in and out, the reliable kind of uptrend. And I think we're entering some uncertainty as they actually get approved. So I would just be careful about that. I wouldn't go buying 250C leaps on coin or anything like that. Closer to the vest, 15-minute trades. That's kind of where my mind is on crypto on the option side. Smalls, I think, there's still a lot more possibilities with them. So I'm kind of unchanged on that part of it.
If we're talking to like the room people, you got to have a Bitcoin chart or two at this point. I'm gonna say this calmly. I gotta say this calmly. I gotta calm down here.
Yeah.
At this point in time, you gotta have a Bitcoin chart or two that you're playing, and you just gotta stick with that and not get excited about other Bitcoin charts that may pop up at the time. Just stay. It's like that would be like trying to fish and someone catching a fish, so you run over there, and then someone catch a fish down there and you run over there. Just stay in your Bitcoin hole. You already got it. Season's going. We're in this move. If you want to move fishing holes, just wait till the big flush. We don't talk about them. But right now we're in this cycle. Happened in January last year. Same thing when you called Mara, $3-4. Same thing. It's just stay in your hole. All right. Now everybody else out there in the world, you're making me play like the bear or the bull here. And I'm pet rock guy. We still got that halving. We got that halving thing in April coming, so I don't see like a complete rug pull.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing's going on. And
No.
I don't claim to know Bitcoin or how the mechanics work, I actually don't like it
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, but I don't think we can get too far below 37 again. And I don't think it would last for long. And I really think we got to test that 60 all-time high at some point in time this year, just because of
I'm
all the news that's around it. So um, it's more
I'm
of
with you. I'm a
okay.
bear on weekly options. That's what I'll say.
Well, I'm
I
always
like
shit.
so the
Shit.
yeah. So I just I think the people that are wanting to pile in for the big pop on the news, they're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
lose.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it actually, when we had the fake news about the ETFs, you remember that pop, and then it just dropped that morning, and I said, that was kind of like a sort of testing the waters. We move back up from here and we retest that high, and we did like a week and a half later, and then of course it broke out. And yeah, I think we go to 55, 60,000 on it. I think that we will see some pullbacks that people don't really maybe expect, but the range is still going to be there. So MSTR been on this long time, and it's sitting there like 631. It topped out at over 720 on Monday, and that kind of range is going to stick around. And I think that your 10% days on MSTR and coin are not going to be we start flat and move up 10%. It's going to be we drop 4% and we close the day up 6%. You're going to see days like that. And as an options trader, if you don't have, this is where the know the chart comment comes in. If you don't have some levels in mind where you want to buy something, that kind of price action is going to completely eat you up. You're going to chase puts, and then you're going to chase calls, and you're going to lose on both of them. So that I expect to see a lot of that with the options traders, and a lot of excuses from FinTwit people that are really late to all these setups.
I got two questions on this one for you, bud. Um, what's your Bitcoin
Yeah,
price when MSTR hits 800?
that would
Because you got more information now. So
4850.
48.50.
Yeah, 4850,000.
All
Yeah,
right. And second question on it.
somewhere between there.
How many 200? Well, not how many. I can't. We don't do that. Do you still have some $200 shares?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
God damn it. I just have a line. I don't have any shares. I just have a line
Yeah.
down here. Man.
Yeah, no, I did I never sold those. I sold my coin, my
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. A couple
golden
times.
entry on coin. I got out of that, but
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, it happens, whatever.
That's what we got Hood for.
I just didn't look. I thought coin 108, 110. I thought that was going to be about it, and we pulled back into the 90s or something, but no, it just
That's the last
kept
place
going.
I sold coin was in the 90s. Peace.
Yeah.
Again, I like other fishing holes. They fit my price point a little better. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
other stuff I could park. Yeah, yeah. Other stuff is easier to park in. All right. Weakness in the. No, I don't want to get in that yet. Let's talk Nvidia and Netflix. I've been wanting to talk Nvidia and Netflix. Which one's going to break 500 for a while? Because they're pretty big names, and oops, sorry, and they're both right there. 470 on Nvidia or on Netflix, and then we're what 480 on Nvidia right now. 91, sorry.
Um.
That's giving up a lot.
Yeah. So flow wise, I would say it looks like Nvidia is gonna do it, but I think it's gonna have more trouble holding it. The thing about Netflix is you start to get into April and into the summer, and it's 600,
Yeah.
620. So it's kind of like I think, yeah, I think Netflix is going to just get into that. I don't know that. I don't. 560 to 600 area, March, April. Whereas Nvidia, the the flow on it is also short term. It's a little harder to read. So I would say Nvidia taps 500 first. Netflix is the better one to make the move uh, and hold it.
Decent. Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, I probably missed this conversation by a couple weeks um, because they're a little bit farther apart now. And not fair
Yeah.
that Nvidia's already made the run because it probably that was the kind of the excuse me, the reason for the question is because Nvidia probably going to break through 500 first. Netflix is probably going to have a little more range short term. That was kind of the thesis behind that for me. That you had 600 is interesting because I was thinking 550 for sure. But how you feel about them long term? I still think Nvidia probably the better play if you're buying a $500 stock right now on the growth side. Less
Yeah, I,
competition.
I, I think so. Just because, yes, uh, the streaming world is a tough space, and there is competition. What could pull, like, Netflix is going to be a buyer, not a seller, as far as assets go,
Mm-hmm.
and we know how that goes sometimes. Like when you're buying up stuff, the market doesn't always like it initially, and you pull back and then recover or whatever. So they're going to have more of that. Whereas Nvidia, there's a lot of hype around the AI stuff, but they're legitimately the leader in that, and have shown that they can sustain the growth that they talk about. So yeah, I mean, I think Nvidia is a big winner long term, even from here. I don't think it's gonna. People try to compare it to Enron or some shit. That's just dumb. I don't think it's gonna like collapse like that or anything.
The one
So yeah, I'm an AVGO person, but that's just my whole history with
preference,
that one. But
sure.
uh, but yeah, no, my preference for trading. But yeah, I love Nvidia too, long term for sure.
Um, Good
You
time to
got you got shares under 350. I'd keep them.
yes, sir.
And if you're
Um,
better than that, I mean, hell yeah, just roll with it.
Hold on till at least it makes sense on taxes.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, there you go.
um, oh yeah, good time to talk about like just kind of like not. I mean, we talk about sector, but also like business cycle because these two are in a good enough position and well enough known for people to understand it as a lesson. But Netflix currently is like in a sector or industry or whatever you want to call it. That's oh man, I have not turned on charts yet. I feel so bad. Sorry, people. Um, Nvidia is uh, Netflix is a company that's kind of looking still. Are we gonna do? We're doing ads now. You know, we got the video games news that just dropped, right? Different pricings, family plan. Like they're trying to still figure out the business, right? They're still trying to figure out what they're gonna have and what they're gonna sell, even, and the whole sector's still like that. Nvidia is not. They're direct. They know like their top three things that they're selling. You know, they might be making those better, but everything is just focused on selling more and maximizing profit. They know who they are, they know what they're doing, and they're just trying to do it for better and less. That's it. So anything in like that, when you get into those kind of cycles of business, it's kind of important to know because of the way they're not only like the balance sheet or the earnings are going to go or where they're going to put their money. PLTR is a good topic here too. Um, but like how much of the market can they capture? And I think we all know. I mean, you said AVGO. The only thing I'd say about them and Nvidia is Nvidia. Man, they're just that's who you call. If you want to have a premium product right now, that's just who you call. And with the AI and
Yeah.
the electric movement, and I mean
Mhm.
everything just needs these dang chips, and they're just the ones you want. So
It's yeah, no, and I agree there. It's with AVGO, a company can say when they've done this, like Microsoft will say, like, well, we're not going to use them as much for this. We're going to make our own thing. It's harder to replicate what Nvidia makes. I mean, as far as the hardware,
Hmm.
side. I mean, that's my understanding anyway. The way that it integrates
Yep.
with software, they've captured a market share that is difficult to break into for anybody else.
Yeah,
So
well, that's the next step
yeah,
of
I'm
business
with you on that.
cycle. The next step of the business cycle, the Amazon effect is, I mean, there used to be a ton of places to shop online. Amazon choked them all out, just better.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the business. I mean, it's like natural evolution. A flower blooms, right? It's a stem, and then it blooms open. Like that's just what you do. So if you don't take them out, they might take you out with something new. And yeah. Not that
Yeah,
we're
and
not going to have
I don't know
other
if you've.
not that we're not going to have other semis p, but um, we're just in that kind of business cycle where they're out there trying to take business from each other because there is a demand. We're moving a direction. All like the game's in motion. You know, the bell is rung at the starting line, and we're running with semis. Where we're still lining up on the streamer side, right?
I don't know if
How we
you've.
receive our entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know if you've experienced this at all, but so like you shop on Amazon, and it's such a familiar experience. Everything about the way the site's laid out and it's all set up for you and everything else. You go to order something on a different website, and it just feels like kind of like a clunkier experience. You got to set up a new account and enter all your crap or whatever, and it's just like so. It's they've just kind of captured you as an audience. You order everything from your dog food to your new lawnmower on Amazon, and it becomes kind of your place for everything and all your auto orders and all that. So yeah, so even if a company like, oh, we sell online, they're just so late to it, and they can't capture what Amazon does. So that's a good comparison to that, I think.
You know, little transition, but full disclosure, Unk stuff. I ain't never ordered anything off Amazon. And don't get me wrong, a box a day shows up at my house.
Yeah,
So my wife does that,
yeah, yeah.
but I don't want to add to it. But
Right, right.
I really never got on Amazon and shopped. I like to
Oh,
go.
really? Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like to go to the company site to look at the product, and then I'll ask my wife if it's on Amazon, and it will show up at my front door. That's kind of my
Yeah.
process. But
Right.
if I am ordering, if I am buying something online, it's usually Yeti, Adidas, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
or some tickets.
Well,
A lot of
I
sporting
mean,
tickets and stuff
like
like
for
that. But
me, with the the books I buy,
yeah,
Amazon probably didn't even have them. So
yeah.
like, yeah, so I'm kind of with you on that. There's the stuff, I don't know, like maybe a couple hundred people in the world read the stuff I read for for work, but yeah, so I'm with you there.
Bro,
But yeah, I'm talking kind of like the general consumer
yeah.
experience.
My wife got into the Braille
But we're
side.
not like everybody else.
My wife got into the Braille side of teaching, and you could not believe how big these fucking books are when they show up. They come like in 3 boxes sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she got a Harry Potter in Braille. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, different combo. I want to talk about because well, I'm not gonna say. I'll say that in the next one. Um, yes, no, we got CPI, PPI, Jackson talking Thursday, Friday for PPI, so it'll be late in the week, and then Jackson talking Wednesday. Um, Also, the Fed's kind of coming back into play with the. I think we have 11 days before we're at the no budget or no whatever deadline again because I keep kicking that can down the street. I'll go first because I think none of that is going to be relevant because they lie about numbers. This is about the seventh time we've been punched by our husband about the debt or the budget, and then the Fed is the only thing because I think we're a little bit over our skis a little bit here. Um, just at the time, I mean, not like we've went way over, but just if we've gotten a little bit ahead of ourselves, pricing in the 6 cuts. Um, yeah, so I think that's where our pullback's going to come is when we don't get one in March or one of these Feds say something. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of wondering how you feel about this week and just in general. because I think the
Oh,
ERs are going to do the sector thing again. To be honest with you, and I like to wait and see how that happens, which we're separating winners or losers through ER. I don't think these numbers or the Fed's going to really do it much. So sideways week for me with that thesis.
yeah, it's a week where I would say pre-market lows are really important because if we do get a negative reaction to any of these any of this news, that it's been really hard to sustain that. It's hard for sellers to kind of get momentum. I see people saying like wait till February to short. I don't see where that's coming from, other than the fact that there's been some good shorts and they weren't on it, so they're just trying to control a narrative about their trading. But yeah, I think sideways and down sort of is where I'm leaning right now, with some positive setups that are kind of not SPY dependent. That's sort of where I'm looking. That's why I like the smalls and some of these IPOs so much right now, because I do think SPY is going to weigh some things down over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I naturally had to pull back here at least the first week or week and a half, and we're still there in that part. 60 is probably better than 80 to start
So
the year,
that
in my opinion. Go for it. Go, go,
yeah.
go.
So I actually that relates to something I wanted to talk about. So you saw some market weakness last week that I didn't really see in options, and I didn't I wasn't on the other side saying like, oh, we're going to have some great week. It just flow was sort of quiet on Apple and Microsoft and those. And I'm kind of wondering, is there something to the fact that like they didn't want to buy an option in December with the first of the year coming in a short week? Or I mean, I'm wondering what kind of the mechanics are kind of in the option world of why they'd wait, because they did start to pile in to puts Monday, Tuesday, and then they got out mostly by Thursday. But I don't know,
I,
taxes or
I try.
whatever. I don't know.
That might be, but I try to keep that shit as simple as possible, Pete. And um,
Yeah,
it's a conversation I wanted to have, so I'll include it then. As a little footnote, but the, the simple as I can put it, when you at the ski out lodge in the Catskills or Tahoe or wherever you are, you ain't worried about the option that week. You just let it go. You don't have to do it. You had a good year, especially last
yeah,
year. I mean, if you had a bad year last year, you're probably out of work in the
right, right,
financial industry. Probably out of work. They
yeah,
probably let you go.
yeah,
I'm just saying, if you
right,
fucked last year up
right.
with a lot of people's money, they probably let you go. So I just there's certain holidays. It's just like that around the 4th of July too. Thanksgiving week usually is pretty. That
Yeah,
Friday's always weird because these guys they're just not around. Big money's not worried about it. We'll let it slide till Monday or Tuesday. We get back in the office, and yeah, that's that. They just turn it off. They just turn it off for a week. And I just have always felt that way. And I might be wrong. There might be a lot more mechanics to it, but it's in my head, right?
right, right.
Like it's always in my head. Where are we at on time? Yeah, no, I
Well, and
can't.
also it's a good lesson that I mean, I look for option driven moves. Obviously, not all moves are option driven. I think
Yeah,
that that's a kind of an important lesson too. And I think also in the kind of the option world, you get used to 1% and 2% being these like huge moves because of what they do to premiums. But
sure.
in kind of the large scheme of things, 1% and 2% pullbacks in a lot of this stuff doesn't really amount to much to what's going on with the stock, and it doesn't even correlate to it's like what people think Snow is going to do or whomever. Um, it's just it's the price finding some equilibrium on a larger time frame, and that's sort of what I look for. And so when you say pullbacks are healthy, that's kind of a lot of what I'm seeing here.
And I got two things I want to squeeze in here, but we're gonna go 45 if I do. I guess that's all right. But yeah,
Yeah.
right now, what is healthier? I mean, what should you be playing? And this conversation I wanted to have with you because I'm sure it's a different look than it is in the flow as it is in the TA side. But would you rather play a pullback right now or play a trend that's currently happening, like something that's already in a trend? Or is the market healthy enough that pullbacks are better because they're just going to get ate up and continue the trend? Apples and
Yeah,
apples,
so
I guess.
I prefer pullbacks. I was looking at that's why I got in snow when I did. Snow had been over 200,
Mm-hmm.
pulled back. One I was like 180 is just about it for option on the option side to the downside, and it turned right around. I was on MDB in a similar kind of way. So it was like last year's strongest sectors, SAS being one of them. Big preference for me. I'm like, okay, these have had 3, 4, 5 days of some pretty fat selling in
Mm-hmm.
these daily candles. So now I'm gonna do a close read on the options. Snow didn't come up to me naturally, like oh, I see a bunch of snow buyers, but I dig into it. So I like stocks where I have history in a sector that had a good year, that had a pullback. That's my
Yeah,
my
yeah.
number one preference. The other thing I look for is kind of um, the sector laggers that have flow in um, March and April and then June. And like AMBA is one of those, and we'll talk about that one in the next session, I think. But um, that's a big one. And then lastly, I think our whole IPO thesis is going to be this year's biggest winner, and people want to know about that. You know, you're gonna pay your $40. I like to get a lot of detail on that,
Gee.
but that's honestly my so the SAS thing, like that's my day trade focus. My big focus, my 80% of my trading goal. I want to be focused on those IPOs and a lot of stuff in that. I mean, some of it's in that kind of $12 to $20 range, but there's some more expensive ones. I mean, there are ones in the 80 to 100 move, and breaking out beyond that. And I'll just say that's what Roku did into last year. Those kind of things. I'm looking for the next ones of those, and I think we have some names already that'll fit that.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I'm more on the trend side because they're a little bit safer. The risk reward ratio is obviously better on a pullback, but the pullbacks with the thesis or the news. What up, Piton? Um, the extra check, as I like to put it, make sure are all checks. Those have been good, so that's why I'm asking because um, the pullbacks are I think the best opportunity, especially if you have a level like you're saying. I love the 180 on snow. I pulled that up. That's a good spot, P. Especially if you see it, if it like you
Yeah.
read flow, I read level two with time and sales. So like you physically see something happening in the moment, um, and then you're already aware before you get there that it could happen. So um, yeah, love to see it. I do. We did good on that, so I'm gonna just jump right to this. We talked about like Apple and the ski guy, right? The ski in, ski out guy. Um, and it's something I've been noticing on Twitter, and it's good. It's actually pretty good for you too, P. So throw just want to throw it out there. But when you're following people in general, it's kind of be mindful like who they are and where they are, because I'm gonna go out and say it. Money, if they do make it or if they hit their goals in life or whatever, money's gonna change them. I don't care who you are. If you're working and you're doing this right now, money is going to change you in the long run. And you see it out there with these kids when they make, $1,000, how they spend their weekend. They don't know how to control that yet because they ain't never had money. So don't let money change you. First of all, like don't like until you've made it like ball on a budget. Don't don't let your day-to-day budget go up because you got a raise or because you made it. Like still have the same dinner. Just because you hit it big that night, still do the same thing you were going to do for dinner tonight, and that's going to get you there. And you'll have some discipline when you do get there, because these guys are, just one slip up. If you're blowing $1,000 every week out at the bar, um, that week you lose 8 or 9 grand, your life's going to change, and it's going to put you in a hellhole, and you just don't want to do that. And if you got over I'll say 7,000 in monthly bills, stop. Fix that shit right now, because that's just ridiculous. But yeah, money. You see it on the Twitter right now. Money changing these people. They get a little bit of money and they don't know how to control it, and it's just maybe it's a 20-year-old thing, but it's one of the craziest things I've seen lately on that platform. Um,
So I work with a lot of young people as a college professor, obviously, and sort of see their process, and I recognize things about who's going to put work in and who isn't, who's going to show up to class, who's going to struggle with writing but try really hard, and like all different kinds of people, and I think with the trading side of it and what I look for and try to recognize, like I don't care what someone's day job is or whatever. I think for a lot of younger people, having a day job is probably better for them. The ones who are just trying to be
100%.
an influencer or whatever, that's not usually a good path. But I look for, it's like, show me something in your life that shows that you have discipline, that shows that you're on top of things and that you know how to run your own life. So like a lot of them tell on themselves where they don't know how to shop for groceries or something
Sure.
stupid like that,
Sure.
or like their phone's always about to run out. Like those little things like that actually are pretty revealing and correlate to their style of trading. That's too heavy on risk. That's too much short expiration. That celebrates the 1,000 percenters, and doesn't talk in a lot of detail about setups, prices, whatever. Like you don't really see kind of a process there, and most accounts have the red flags that I'm talking about. It's much harder to find the ones that don't, because those guys actually they tend to be quieter because they're actually trading more, instead of just kind of doing the influencer hype thing. So be mindful of that, especially in the conditions that we're expecting. The sloppy guys are going to get eaten up, and so you just want to be really careful about who you follow in that regard.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I came from the construction background and a little bit of sales background, and it didn't matter. Like the best example I can get is paycheck day. You get people that come in and they're like, I can work hard, and they'll work hard, 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 but for some reason the day after paycheck day they got a cold, or they didn't come, or they came in and they did a half-ass job because that money they got on the weekend, they changed their lifestyle for that one weekend. And um, for me, when I started my business, man, I had to clean gutters out for $300, right? Like that was a good day. I was happy to go to the rich guy's house and clean out gutters for $300. So for me, as I relate that to trading,
Yeah.
is if I have a $300 day, I'm not mad. I'm happy as hell, and that's nothing. Like $300 ain't. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not like a huge. It's not something you post on Twitter about like, hey, join my stuff. But I'm not on a fucking roof. You feel me? Like I'm not. I'm not on a roof anymore. I don't have to do that. So if that's the start of this business, because this is you got to treat it. That's how I make my money. You got to treat it like a business. You should be totally happy with that. And you see a lot of these guys, they ain't even had a job, and if they did, I guarantee you they weren't making $300 a day. And they're over here like, I got to make 2 or 3 grand a day. Like that's where they're starting, or 500 a day. Like you got to start realistic. Shout out to whoever made me read my pin, fucking my pin post in the group, because it's in there too. Like you got to be happy with $100, right? I mean, I don't know what. I mean, we're 3 or 4 years down the road. Biden fucked up minimum wage, but $100 is fucking $15 an hour on 8 hour shift, right? I mean, it is. That's just what it is. So
Yeah.
be happy with that. Especially if you're like side trading for 20 minutes in the morning, right? Like just fucking calm down. You don't have to make $1,000 a day. Just simmer the fuck down. Get a process, make a little money brick by brick, and you'll be fine. All right, I'm done there. What if unless you got something to add?
Right. Stay on it. Simple thesis. Check the weather.
The weather. That's a teaser.
I just yeah. So I just think it's a 289. Just look for what it does around $3. But your 5% 8% days on UNG, you're going to see quite a few of those in the coming months. So just plan accordingly.
Love it.
Learn that chart.
Love that chart. Let's do SPY real quick.
Yeah.
All
right.
73, 67 was the top. 66 was the bottom. You fucking lied to me. No,
what did I do?
You told me you didn't see weakness.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a lie. Like, I didn't see weakness, so I wasn't gonna assume weakness. But I was I didn't go full porting upside either. So I was a little bit cautious. All right. So what do I see here? I'm a little bit. All right. Here's my most confident contract before I talk about what's going to happen this week. February 16th, 450p. I think that's going to make money even if we don't get to 450. I think they're putting a lot of attention on that one.
That's all you
got.
I'm like,
on the shorter term, 480C to the upside, like that would be the one. So that would mean that we recover and then drop to close the month. That's the narrative I see with those contracts.
I like having a thesis of why, but I don't like falling into traps. 457 definitely stands out, like right there. So I'm with you on 460 happening, just win. I don't like you. I just don't like the 480 because of the all-time high stuff. You know how that is. Man, yeah, we're stuck here. So yeah,
I don't think it gets to 480 because it's 2 weeks out. So what I'm saying is, like, if we get to 475 or 473, 474 even, like this week, it can fall from there and that contract's still going to go up 40, 50%. And then they'll get out of it. So it very well could be a trap. It's definitely a trap on the we're going deep in the money side of things, because I don't think that's happening.
So I got a downside number. I just think the top's kind of hard here. Yeah, I'm gonna stay under that.
What's your downside number?
The 457.57. Shout out to Heinz.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And then I'm gonna go. Where are we at? I'll go to 71. I'll go 471.69. Shout out Goose. Yeah. That's a pretty big range. I do see downside. I just don't know when. I'm not gonna try to time it. I don't know if it's J Pal or if it's just this ER getting knocked around here. Certain sectors that are overextended. But one of those two probably. Not J Pal. It's Jackson. Sorry. But one of those two probably is it for me. I'm looking for downside this whole month. As an opportunity, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I didn't sell any SQQQ yet, so kind of with you there. All right. So for this week, I'm going to say 473.66. And my downside, 460.76.
460.76?
Yep.
All right, so a little bit up. You're just a little bit. You're bracketed, but it's to the upside. Interesting. And last week you won for sure. But we were way over, so we don't really want to talk about that. We got to hide those losses.
No. Right. Yeah.
So I didn't even look at SPY till Thursday, but it would have been Wednesday, but the week was all weird in that regard. So I didn't really even look at it till Thursday. And I was like, what the? This is just downhill. This isn't Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get to work, or you got anything else to throw in here? Go do some charting.
No, yeah, we'll get to work.
All right, perfect.
Sounds good.